It's great to see all of you here today. And congratulations, Coach Bishop and women's soccer. That's outstanding. Congratulations. Let's give him one more big round. Southland Conference champions. That's big time. That's what, we're one step closer to hopefully having a chance to say that we will have a chance to play for that. So I know what a great accomplishment that is. Had a good win this past week. Steve said it was a smooth win, which it was not as bumpy as Lamar's travel, but I tell you, being down there on the sideline, it was anything but smooth. But sometimes you have to win those games. You have to you have those games where it's workmanlike. It was a very workmanlike day for us, to where things didn't happen easily, and things didn't go exactly as planned. I thought Lamar came out with an outstanding game plan. This is 2 weeks in a row. I don't know if y'all how much you notice or not as far as that, but the first series of each game, McNeese had some things going in their first series. Really was moving the football and taking it down the field before we were able to get a turnover. Lamar did the same thing. They were showing us a lot of different looks and some things that we hadn't seen on film, and they did a good job of moving the ball down the field. We held them to a field goal, and it was a 3-0 football game, and it took us a while to get going offensively. But then the defense made some, adjusted to all of the things that Lamar was doing, and I can't say enough about the way that the defense played. Holding, they had thrown the football for 400 yards the week before against Northwestern State, and was really pleased with the way the defense played. Thought, Garrett Sharp, as Steve said, was Southland Conference Defensive Player of the Week, had an outstanding game. Garrett had been hurt. He went out in a Samford game, and then, he was out for 4 weeks. So this was really his second week back. But his first week of really getting to play, he probably got about 50% of the snaps. I thought all the linebackers played well. James Graves, I thought, had his best game at inside linebacker. Raphael Garner played a good game. I thought our corners, especially Tyler Williams, they went after Tyler quite a few times. They only went after Trey Smith twice. They got one little slant on him and threw the ball deep on him once, and he was able to make that play. But they went after Tyler about 9 times, and Tyler, came up and made the play every single time. So very pleased with the play of our corners. Defensively, overall was a very good game. Chris Terrell, the freshman from Pensacola, had another really good game. I thought Cardell Best played hard. Those defensive ends, Dalvin Simmons, I thought had a good game. Chris Chambers, a kid from Pearl, Mississippi, he had a sack and a couple of tackles for loss and did a really good job. I thought our kicking game was big for us. Patrick Ponder, I thought, punted the football really well and flipped the field a couple of times. I thought Matt Cummins hit some big field goals and wound up hitting a big extra point. It's the first time we've ever, it was a good call, but you don't see it called very often. A face mask on an extra point called on an offensive lineman. Apparently we grabbed a face mask, so it wound up being, about a 30-something yard extra point. But Matt came through, and every point in that game was big, the way it was shaping up. We wound up, we were up by 16, which, the way I was looking at it, that means they got to score twice and go for 2 twice just to tie us. So every point was a big point. I thought Hayden, scored us 2 points on his little quick kick. Did a great job of punting the football. We downed them at the 1, and then 2 plays later, Garrett Sharp runs through and gets them for a safety. So the kicking game was really big for us. Cody Douch caught a ball and got it back up to the 50 and set up a scoring opportunity. So those special teams, really played well. Offensively, we spit and sputtered around. It definitely wasn't our best offensive output, but we did commit 1 turnover, which is 1 too many. We had a chance right before the half to get points. We had driven the football down and had a chance to possibly either score a touchdown or kick a field goal. We turned the football over there. We're not pleased with that. We did have a turnover. Trey had a big punt return, which set up a touchdown. Trey Smith, another deal in the kicking game, had a big return. And then right after that, we were able to score. And then Trey had two plays where it was one of them where they went after him deep. Right after he had the long punt return, they threw it deep, and he had to go cover a guy, so he needed a blow. And we got Dwayne Smith, who had been very sure-handed, who had returned a kick a couple of weeks ago for a touchdown against Abilene. They punted the football, and he got up in the middle of some traffic and probably should have just gotten away from the football. But he was trying to make a play. We turned it over there. That's something that that we can't do. But all in all, it was a good win, and it's a win that you take it and you move forward. Now we're playing a very one of the hottest teams in the league. Southeastern is on a 3-game winning streak. They're as talented. I mean, they've got speed and they've got size. They're one of the most talented teams in the league. We were looking at their roster, of their 85 scholarship guys, and over I think it was 45 of them are transfers from either the junior college level or Division I transfers. They've got a quarterback they've got both quarterbacks that they're playing are very athletic. One's a transfer from ULL, I believe, and the other one's a California or Eastern Arizona transfer. Good players there. Their defensive line, they've got a 6'6", 250-pound defensive end. That's a transfer from LSU. They've got a 6'6", 340-pound nose guard. That's a transfer from he went from Georgia to Colin to Alabama to Southeastern. So he's a guy that was sought after at a lot of different places, and he.
How old is this guy?
Yeah, he is 27. No, he is. He is. He is a senior. This is. This will be the last time that the first and the last time that we see him. They've turned over, quite a bit of their defensive roster. They lost quite a few defensive players a year ago. Southeastern has always, since I've been in the league and since Ron Roberts has been there, Southeastern's always been good on defense. And last year they lost a lot of their guys, and this year they started off slower than what they wanted to. They opened up with Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State got after them pretty good in the first half. I mean, it was like 38-7 at halftime. It wound up 61-7. But a lot of their, like right now, Southeastern's ranked like third in a lot of defensive categories. Where I think we're first. McNeese is right behind us, and then Southeastern. But a lot of those statistics are skewed from the first game of the year, when they played Oklahoma State and gave up 61 points and a bunch of yards. Since that point in time, they've been really good. They're very, very strong defensively. Offensively, they struggled a little early in the year. They had a new offensive coordinator, a guy that had been at Georgia Southern and had been around, but his most recent, I believe, was at Georgia Southern, triple option guy. Running all the motion and dive and pitch and all that stuff, and it took them a game or two to figure, for the kids and coaches all to get on the same page, and for I know the way that Ron wants them to execute, they weren't executing to the point that they are now. Now they're really rolling. This, Houston Baptist, who beat Abilene a couple of weeks ago and took Nichols to overtime just 2 weeks ago. Houston Baptist is a much improved football team. Southeastern beat them 37-3, this past weekend. And Southeastern's won 3 in a row. They're hot right now. They're playing with a lot of confidence. Good football team, and our guys know that, and our guys will know that, and we'll prepare accordingly. It's a big challenge for us. But we're one that we're definitely excited about and looking forward to. We're playing a football team this week that is a very, very good football team. Their season kind of changed. They're playing McNeese. They're down to McNeese. I think it's 14-7 at the half. They come out and score twice quickly at the beginning of the second half and go ahead. McNeese comes back and ties it up. McNeese goes back down to win the game and turns football over. It looks like it's going to overtime. So Southeastern's got the football with 50 seconds left, backed up at their own 20. All right, playing McNeese's defense, you probably ought to just play for overtime. They ran the ball in there on one play, and it gets 2 or 3 yards, and you go, well, they're going to play for overtime. Well, on the next snap, they say, well, the heck with it, let's give it a shot. Take the snap and throw it up as far as he can throw it, and the guy catches it and goes 82 yards for a touchdown. So they beat McNeese on the last play of the game. And then since that point in time, they haven't looked back. They've gone on and won the last 2 games in a row and pretty handily. So they're hot. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now, but we're going to have a great week of preparation and look forward to going down there and playing Southeastern and give us a chance to stay where we're at in the conference race.